Hi everyone, welcome to Swagger Swoon. My name's George and we're going to talk a little bit about some of the key differences between black tie formal wear and white tie formal wear. Now, the main thing to remember is white tie formal wear is sort of the epitome of formal clothing, and this is really only reserved for sort of royal occasions or state functions. So it's not hugely common. Sometimes you'll get them in parties and things for people that are having a particular event or whatever, but it's usually reserved for those sort of highest of formal events. It is really very specific as well on the sort of things that it needs. So white bow tie, Marcella classic or silk, something like that really needs to be sort of just your staple basics. Something like these ones here, always stick with a self tie. You never want someone coming up to you in an event and trying to adjust your bow tie and realising it's not real. So always stick with one of those ones for white tie. You'll need a tailcoat. So this here is actually a dinner jacket. It is a lot more formal. And if you are going with a waistcoat, it needs to be white to go underneath there. You'll need a very formal dress shirt. A tuxedo shirt is the thing you'll need with cufflinks. So all of these things become what you need for a particular white tie event. As I say, it's very specific, particularly when it comes to the shoes as well. They have to be patent leather, avoid anything with broguing, anything like that. So, all of this comes together to create a really, really formal look. It is really, really nice look, but it is really quite specific. And so if you are going for a white tie event, then look for those key things. Now, when it comes to black tie formal, you have a little bit more flexibility in there. These are sort of usually reserved for formal galas or dinners or a formal wedding, something like that. So they're not quite so pressured on the very specific things that you have to wear, and you have a little bit more flexibility. However, if you are attending a slightly more formal black tie formal event, there are still rules, there are still things that you have to follow. If you're attending events that's black tie optional, this sort of gives you an idea that you want something that's really quite smart, really quite formal, but you do have the flexibility to add a few accessories or to customise it very slightly just to sort of add your personality into it. But the basics should be kept the same as it is still a formal event. So for this, like you can see behind me, you'll need a dinner jacket or a tuxedo jacket. This is basically just what we might call it in English, or versus what the Americans might call it as well. And they're basically the same thing, essentially. It needs to be a formal, smart black jacket, but the key difference is it will have a satin lapel that doesn't match the rest of the fabric for the jacket. One common question is, can I just wear a black suit, a work suit, anything like that? These tend not to be formal enough for a black tie event, and they tend to be what the waiters and things might be wearing as well. So you don't want to get confused for one of those. So the contrast lapel is the one to go for. Something with a peaked lapel like this, or a shawl collar is absolutely fine. Avoid anything that's got a notched lapel in. That's where it has the little triangle out like this. They tend to be workwear and not formal enough for a black tie event. So those are the things to look for. And usually you'll have a single button as well. Sometimes rented suits may have a double button, but if you're looking to buy one, always go for a single button for a dinner jacket, like this one. You can wear a waistcoat with these, but try and keep it either matching your jacket, or if you do have a sort of a black tie optional events, then you can customise it slightly with a little bit more of a jazzy waistcoat, but don't go too far because it is still a formal event like so. We haven't got one on here because what you want to keep is this nice clean white triangle of shirt. That's kind of a real staple of the black tie look, as is obviously recognisable. You can opt for a pocket square, keep it simple, either match your bow tie or opt for something that's white, so a white silk or a white linen is always a really nice touch. If you wanted a black satin to match your bow tie, or something with a very slight paisley, that would probably be okay. But if in doubt, keep it really simple, really plain. And something like the flat fold or the presidential fold keeps things really nice and simple. On your bottom half, you're going to want just a tuxedo trouser, black trouser. These are, just really classic, simple, understated trouser. If you are wearing sort of a tuxedo jacket, you can match to that one. If you've got something like a denim jacket here, just stick with something really plain. You don't want to be sort of mismatched too much with that. And then for your footwear, you can either opt for patent leather Oxfords. Try and avoid the broguing. You want something really sort of classic and simple. Or a velvet loafer, something like that, if you have got more of a relaxed event, or you're wearing a velvet jacket. Those sorts of things work really well. But again, keep it sort of really, really understated, simple. You don't want too showy at this point. And last but not least, obviously, your bow tie. So black tie does actually refer to the colour of this one here. A necktie isn't really appropriate for formal wear like this, because like I said earlier, you want to keep this traditional look where you have the white triangle with your black bow tie up there. Now, a self-tie one is always the classic option as well. You can get the pre-tied ones. Try and go for one that sort of looks like it's been self-tied or sort of tied for you, if you are going to go for one of those. But what you don't want to happen is someone to turn up and try and adjust your bow, and yeah, it's not real. So always opt for a self-tie one if you can. And that should complete your black tie look. You can sort of customise that with dress scarves, with a little bit of a jazzy pocket square, things like that if the event allows for it. But those are your staple sort of black tie versus white tie attires.